Okay, so worms. Worms. Not really the first thing you picture when someone says evolutionary success story, right?
Right.
But you guys asked us to dig into how they ended up basically everywhere. And, well, the answer's pretty wild. We're talking genes, people. Serious genetic superpowers.
Yeah.
We dug into articles from Science Magazine, a bunch of research papers, and let's just say we're about to get a little weird with it.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
So hit us with it. What makes worms so special in the grand scheme of evolution?
Well, you know how we always think of evolution as this slow, gradual process,
Yeah,
right?
kind of like a really long game of telephone.
Exactly. But with earthworms, it's like someone just took the game board and shook it all up, like completely shuffled the deck.
Whoa, okay. So not slow and steady wins the race.
Not even close. We're talking massive genetic rearrangement. And the thing is, this kind of genetic chaos, it usually spells disaster for most animals. It's like trying to build a house from a blueprint that's been put through a paper shredder, you know?
Total
Total
chaos.
chaos. But for some reason, earthworms, they not only survived it, they thrived on it.
Okay, now that you mention it, I do remember seeing this crazy visual in one of the articles. I think they called it shredded ribbons, right?
Yeah.
And it showed how genes are actually arranged on chromosomes in different worms.
Oh, yeah, that one. It's really something else.
And it's like, imagine chromosomes, those are like those little shelves you use to organize your photo albums, right?
Hmm.
Everything's all nice and neat,
Right,
labeled.
right. Organize.
But in earthworms, it's like someone took all those photo albums, ripped out all the photos, and just tossed them in the air.
It's remarkable, isn't it? Because that's what their genome looks like compared to their neater, more organized aquatic ancestors.
So, like, what's the advantage there? Why go through all that trouble of scrambling everything up?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, right? But the research suggests that all this genetic upheaval, it might have actually been the key to their success. Think about it. They were moving from water to land, a completely different ballgame.
Yeah, talk about a change of scenery.
Right. Different oxygen levels, different soil types, all these new challenges they had to adapt to, and their jumbled up genes, well, they might have given them the flexibility to do just that.
So it's like instead of just having one tool for the job, they had a whole toolbox, even if it was a little messy.
Precisely. It's like those researchers were saying, this completely changes how we think about adaptation. It wasn't just slow and steady, it was a sudden burst of genetic creativity.
And get this right. The research also mentioned how the earthworm's genome, it actually looks more like a clam's than some of its closer worm relatives.
Yeah, isn't that wild? It's like they borrowed parts from a completely different evolutionary playbook.
It's like finding out your long-lost cousin is actually a fish.
Something like that. But that's the beauty of this kind of research. It opens up so many more questions than it answers.
And honestly, it makes you think if something as, well, let's be honest, something as kind of basic as a worm can rewrite the rules of evolution, what else are we missing?
Exactly. It really makes you wonder what other genomic secrets are still out there just waiting to be discovered.
Hidden in plain sight. So, to wrap this whole thing up, we started with a simple question, right? How did worms become such a global phenomenon? And turns out it's all thanks to a little genetic upheaval. Who knew chaos could be so advantageous?
Right. It makes you think twice about keeping things neat and tidy, doesn't
It
it?
does, it really does. And on that note, we'll leave you with this little thought. If a little genetic chaos can lead to global domination in the worm world, what does that tell us about the potential for adaptation and change in other species, even ourselves? Think about it.